Hi everybody, and welcome to this tutorial on VLOOKUPs in Microsoft Excel. Before we jump right into all the steps that are required to perform a VLOOKUP, I want to take just a moment to explain what it is and when and why you would ever need to use one of these functions. So VLOOKUP, which is just short for vertical lookup, is a process in Excel that allows you to, for example, take a very specific set of data from one worksheet or set of data and pull that over, look it up and copy it over and match it to another data set. So for example, the one that we're going to use here, we have a simple inventory sheet for this Wherever Shoes company. Got the product idea, size, quantity, whether it's men, women's, the actual cost of the company itself, its value, and the retail price. Okay, so this is just an inventory sheet, as you can see down here on the tab at the bottom. If we select the tab next to it called Product Details, we can see we have a much more expanded view of the company's products. In addition to the product ID, we've got the description of the product, and the color, and so on and so forth. But what we're missing here, we have the actual cost of the product to the company, but we don't have the retail price on this particular worksheet. And we want to be able to pull this retail price over here so we have all the information we have on our company's inventories. Now this actually happens very, very often in very specific companies with their enterprise resource planning software or their management database systems, where you want to combine information from two different reports. In other words, you want to consolidate it all together. So we do that by using a VLOOKUP function. So we look at this sheet, it doesn't have the retail price. If we click over to our inventory tab, it's missing a bunch of details, but it does have this retail price. And we want to copy that and move it over to this side here. So the first step in determining on how you're going to put a VLOOKUP together will be that you need to find a set of data in one of the columns, okay, that is the same on both worksheets. I should also point out that VLOOKUPs don't necessarily have to be on separate tabs. You could actually have a data set over here on the same worksheet. So on this particular example, we can see in column A, we have something called product ID. Now these ID numbers are unique numbers for each category or each inventory item. And that's absolutely critical. You need to find something, both sets of data, where the values are unique. If you're not using unique value sets, for example, if this one also was WE001, it's going to pull over, this is the same information, it's going to duplicate it. So for this example, we can see on this table, in column A, we've got product ID, and if we look over at our other tab here, we've also got product ID. So that's great. This can be our lookup reference. So essentially what we're going to tell Excel to do is we're going to say, Excel, go over to column A, look up, excuse me, this product ID number, and when you find it, please grab this retail price here in column G, and when you grab that, please bring it over to this worksheet, find the matching product ID in here, and when you do, return that value over here. Okay, so again, we're going to tell Excel to look up each product ID individually, and when it program finds it, it's going to come over here and grab the retail price. It's going to come over to this worksheet, find that matching product ID, and then drop in this cell the matching retail price for that. So I'm going to show you two ways to put in a VLOOKUP. You can do it with a manual formula, and we can also use our formula functions built into Excel to do that. So first of all, let's use our manual formula for now. And we're going to enter the formula in the worksheet where we want the value to appear. So on this product details tab, this is where we want the price to appear. So we'll start by selecting the cell here in, this is I3, starting equals V. Now you can see as soon as I type in the V, I can see VLOOKUPs right here. Okay, so I'll double click that. And what do I want it to look up? Well, I want it to go and look through, and I want to highlight all these values. Okay, so in this particular worksheet, we are highlighting the values from A4 to A39. Okay, once we've done that, we will click inside here so we get our cursor flashing. We'll put in a comma, and we will go over to the inventory tab. And here, we're going to select our table array, which is going to be everything. Okay, we can just select everything in our data set. Okay. Oops, we're in blank. And we've got that. Now, what I recommend, now here we've got our table array from A4 to H39. We want to make these an absolute value. Okay, we want to use an absolute cell reference. I'm going to lock those in, so you can hit F4 on your keyboard. If that doesn't happen to work for you, all we want to do is simply have a $ in front of and behind the column number. So before and after the A, and before and after the H. Okay. Then we put in our comma. Now what we need to determine here is, this is where, once we go to this table array, we want to tell Excel, okay, which column number do we want to return the value in? So we can see here, we just count the number of columns over to our retail price. So we've got column A through H. So if we just count those columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so the value that we want is in column 7. I know that's a little bit strange since we use letters to identify our columns, but it's in the 7th column. So we'll put in 7, one more comma, and we want to select where it says false or exact match. That's what we want to select. So we'll double click that and close parentheses, and we'll hit tab. And now we can see that retail price is populated right here. Okay, and so Excel has looked up this number, the product ID number, found it on the inventory sheet. It went over 7 columns and it returned the $90. Okay, once we've got that, we can just use our fill handle and double click and fill that down. So let's just kind of go down a couple of rows or a few rows and determine if this thing really worked. So I'm down here on row 18 at $14, and we have a product ID of WE015. So if I go back over to our inventory tab and we look up 015, we would expect to find a retail price of $14. So let's do that. So go down to row 18, here's WE015, and sure enough, there's our $14. So we can say with all confidence that our VLOOKUP function worked exactly. Now, I want to just give you another example here about this column number that we indicated here. Column number 7, because this is so important. Okay. So we use column number 7. Now, if I went in, for example, and I changed my formula by changing number 7, for example, column 7 to column 6, instead of picking up the $90, I would pick up this $232 value. So let's try that and see what happens. We'll go up, so we're highlighted here, and this is just for an example purpose, just to sort of further illustrate how this VLOOKUP function works. So we can go in here and we will change that 7 carefully, and we'll put in a 6. Now when I tab over, there you go. It picked up and it brought over this $232.50. Okay, so, and there it is right there. All right, but we don't want that. We want it because that picked up column 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we want the values in column 7. So I'll go back and change that. And we'll put in column 7. And there we go. Okay, so that's how you perform a VLOOKUP function manually, putting in the formula inside Excel. Again, this is used almost on a daily basis in the working world, whether you're doing analysis or pulling information together. If you're in market, it could be in any department, whether accounting, of course, and finance, but also in marketing, when you're trying to consolidate information, human resources, when you're trying to consolidate employee information and salaries and things like that. So this function is used probably as much, if not more, than any other function in Excel. So I hope you find that helpful. I'm going to break this up, and I'm going to just to keep the video sort of so they don't run on too long. And in the next video, I'm going to perform the same function, but rather than put in the formula manually, we will use the formula function setups inside Excel to show you how to enter in this information. So that's it for now, and we will see you in the next video.